Imagine for a moment a tiny seed, really small. You can barely feel it, sitting there in your hand. You plant it, give it some water, and then you wait. And for days, maybe even weeks, nothing much seems to happen. He's not above ground. The soil just looks like soil. No big show. But what's really going on down there under the surface? Well, invisible roots are spreading out, grabbing hold, pulling in nutrients. Energy's building up. And then, almost when you're not looking, this little green sprout pushes through, just pushes right up. And from that one little sprout, if you get sun and water every day, it starts this amazing journey, growing taller, stronger, eventually maybe, into this huge, incredible tree. Your journey with English, well, it's a lot like that seed, honestly. Every word you learn, every sentence you try out, even the mistakes you make and fix each one is like giving water and sun to your own English seed. Now, at first, you might look around, maybe compare yourself to others and think, nothing's happening here. Am I even getting anywhere?
Yeah.
You might get discouraged. It happens. It's easy to feel like your efforts are just invisible. But what if those small efforts, the ones you can't really see day to day, what if they're actually building something unstoppable, laying a foundation, waiting for the right moment? So today, we're doing a deep dive. We're looking at this really fascinating stack of insights from the Small Steps, Big Success Daily English Motivation audiobook. Our mission, it's pretty clear. We want to unpack how small daily steps in English lead to big success, and not just in the language, in your whole life. We're going to explore why these tiny actions are often way more powerful than trying to make these huge, infrequent leaps. We'll look at the science, the stories, building habits, getting momentum, finding that confidence, and how it all ripples out.
And what's really fascinating here, I think, is how counterintuitive it all feels.
Right.
We live in this world that just seems to celebrate the big, splashy results, the overnight success stories.
Totally. That's all you see sometimes.
Exactly. And it can make you feel like you're failing if your progress isn't like that, if it's not dramatic. But this material, it's such a powerful reminder that real, lasting growth, the kind that sticks, it usually happens quietly, behind the scenes. It's built through these consistent, sometimes barely noticeable actions. And we're not just going to talk about what to do, but really dig into why it works. On a psychological level, how our brains actually respond to this stuff.
Okay, so if you've ever felt just completely swamped by the idea of learning English, or really any big goal, and you've wondered, how do I actually move forward without feeling like I have to climb a mountain tomorrow? Then this deep dive is definitely for you. Let's jump in and see how these small steps can make a massive difference.
It's such a common way to think, isn't it? When people picture learning English, they often imagine these giant leaps, like needing hours and hours of intense study every day, memorizing huge lists of words, staying up all night, or somehow just waking up fluent, like magic. And this whole mindset, this idea that you need these massive efforts right away, that's a huge reason why people give up. It just feels overwhelming, too big, too heavy. Impossible almost, like trying to jump straight to the top of Mount Everest. It just paralyzes you.
It's a really critical point about our psychology, and it makes you ask, well, why do we default to thinking in these giant leaps, especially for complex things like language? Part of it maybe is that societal pressure we talked about, that need for instant results. We see it everywhere.
The quick fixes. Right. But it's also, I think, a fundamental misunderstanding of how skills are actually built. Over time, piece by piece. Our brains are kind of wired to avoid huge, difficult-seeming tasks. It's like a self-preservation thing, conserving energy. So the perception that it has to be this massive effort can actually be the biggest hurdle. It stops us before we even start. It's a mental block more than anything.
Okay, but here's the good news. The really freeing idea from the source material. Success isn't built on those giant leaps. It's built on small, repeated actions, consistently. Think about that mountain analogy again. You don't teleport to the top, right? No, you take one step, then another, then another. Each step on its own feels tiny, maybe insignificant, but add them all up. Together, they get you there, higher than you thought possible. And it's exactly the same with English. One small habit, done consistently day after day, that has way more power in the long run than some huge effort you only do once in a blue moon. It's that cumulative power.
And connecting that to the bigger picture, this isn't just an English learning trick. It's pretty much a universal principle for achieving almost anything significant. Think about mastering an instrument, training for a race, building a business.
Yeah, anything worthwhile takes time.
Exactly. Breaking down that huge, scary goal into small, doable, non-threatening steps. It's like a clever way to trick your brain. You bypass that natural resistance to hard stuff, make the first step easy, and the next one doesn't seem so bad. It doesn't drain your willpower quite so much, because willpower, let's face it, it runs out.
Right. It's not an endless supply.
Not at all. This approach leans more on routine, on patterns, which our brains actually like.
Yeah.
It makes the effort feel less like a constant fight.
So practically speaking, what do these small English habits actually look like? Give us some real examples.
Okay, yeah, there's simple things, really achievable stuff, like maybe reading just one paragraph of an English book or article before bed. Just one. Or maybe writing 3 new sentences in the morning. Could be about anything, your breakfast, your plans, how you feel. Or listening to a short English podcast snippet, maybe 5 minutes while you make coffee. Now, these might seem, well, tiny, right? Almost too small. You might think, seriously, what difference can that make? But the core message here is over weeks, months, years. These tiny actions, they compound, they build up, they create this unstoppable wave of progress. It's the quiet accumulation that does it.
And there's solid science behind this.
Hmm.
Psychologists, researchers in habit formation. They all confirm it. Habits are the real building blocks of achievement. It's not just about willpower.
Which comes and goes.
Exactly. It's unreliable. And it's not just about motivation either, which can change with your mood, right?
Totally. Some days you feel it, some days you really don't. Right. But habits, those repeated, almost automatic behaviors, once they're set, they kind of run on their own. They shape who we become and what we achieve much more reliably than just relying on feeling inspired or strong-willed all the time.
Okay, let's dig into that a bit more, because that feels really important. So you're saying it's less about waiting for that big spark of inspiration, which might burn out quickly anyway, and more about just the steady, quiet rhythm of a routine. Is that it?
Precisely. That's a great way to put it. Think of willpower like a muscle or maybe a phone battery. Every time you have to force yourself to do something difficult or resist temptation, you use up some of that energy. It gets tired.
Yeah, decision fatigue is real.
It is. But habits, once they're properly formed, they work on autopilot. They don't require that constant conscious effort, that internal debate. They conserve your mental energy. So doing the thing actually starts to feel easier over time because your brain isn't fighting it anymore. It's automated the process.
The source material has this great story about Maria. Really brings this to life. So Maria really wanted to improve her English, but like so many people, she had basically zero free time. Job, family, everything else. She just couldn't see how she'd fit in hours of study. So instead of giving up, she made this small promise. Just 10 minutes a day. Seemed tiny, almost pointless compared to her big goal, right? But she stuck to it. She listened to English audio while brushing her teeth on her short commute. Just 10 minutes. After a month, she was surprised she was understanding more. After 3 months, her confidence was noticeably up. And after a year, those tiny 10-minute chunks added up to over 60 hours of listening practice. She didn't leap up the mountain. She just walked, steadily, one small step after another, and got there. Her progress was real.
Maria's story is just a perfect illustration of how something seemingly insignificant can compound into really substantial results. It really highlights that power of compound interest, but applied to learning.
Like building interest on your skills.
Exactly. It's not just finance. Every little bit you learn or practice doesn't just add linearly. It connects to what you already know. It makes the existing knowledge stronger and makes it easier to learn the next thing. It creates this sort of exponential growth curve in your understanding and fluency. Each piece multiplies the value of the others, like building a web, not just a pile of bricks.
And that's why starting small is so brilliant. It just wipes out the excuses. You don't need perfect grammar today. You don't need hours of free time today. You don't need to feel 100% motivated today. You just need to do something small today and tomorrow. And here's that magic again. Small steps don't stay small. They compound. The words you learn today mix with yesterday's words. The sentences you practice tomorrow build on today's confidence. It grows. It really does. Far beyond what you might think is possible from such small beginnings. It's this quiet, persistent growth engine.
That compounding concept is just so critical. Really understanding it changes everything. Each new piece of vocab, each grammar point understood. It doesn't just add to the pile, it weaves into the existing network. It strengthens the whole structure, making everything more connected and more accessible.
Like those Lego bricks you mentioned.
Yeah.
Each one connects and makes the whole thing stronger.
Precisely. It allows that basic understanding to grow, to blossom into a much more sophisticated command of the language. It's how fluency actually develops, not usually in big jumps, but through this steady, interconnected growth.
So let's rethink that old saying. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Let's add. And it's completed by taking that step consistently every single day. So I invite you listening right now, stop seeing English as this huge mountain to conquer in one go. Picture it instead like a path you're building, a path made of small stones. Every day you place one stone. A word, a phrase, 5 minutes of listening. Each week you've built a little section of path. Each year, you look back and wow, look how far you've walked. Your success is woven into those small, steady steps you take today and tomorrow. Okay, let's talk momentum. Because momentum, honestly, it's like your secret weapon for anything long-term, especially learning English. Picture trying to push a really heavy car that's stalled, completely stopped. At first, it feels impossible. You lean in, push with all your might, and nothing. It just sits there, stubborn. But you keep at it, consistent pushes, slowly, it starts to rock, maybe roll just a tiny bit. And once it starts moving, suddenly each push feels easier. The resistance is less. Soon it's rolling smoothly and you're barely pushing as hard. That initial inertia is gone. That is momentum. And for learning English, for any big goal, momentum changes everything. It's your superpower.
That car analogy is so good because it really captures that initial struggle, that static friction, overcoming inertia that's often the hardest part, getting started when nothing seems to be happening.
Exactly. It feels pointless sometimes.
But once you apply those consistent inputs, those small pushes, things start moving. And crucially, once it is moving, the energy from your past efforts helps make the next effort easier. It creates this positive feedback loop. Each little bit of progress fuels the next bit. It becomes a virtuous cycle, not a constant battle against inertia.
You nailed it. Momentum means the work you do today makes tomorrow's work feel easier. It really does. That beginning phase, when progress feels invisible, when you're straining against that stalled car, when the habit isn't formed yet, that's the danger zone. That's where people often quit. But if you push through, if you get that small habit locked into your daily rhythm, it eventually becomes almost automatic, like brushing your teeth. You don't debate it, right? You just do it.
It's just part of the routine.
Daily English practice can become like that if you focus on building that momentum first.
And building on that, there's a really effective technique called habit stacking. It's brilliant for building momentum for new things like language learning. The idea is super simple, but really powerful. You don't try to magically invent new time in your day. That's usually unrealistic.
Yeah, finding extra time is hard.
Right. So instead, you cleverly link your new desired habit, your English practice, to an old habit you already do automatically. You piggyback the new habit onto an existing routine.
Okay, now that sounds really interesting because it shifts the focus, right? We're not trying to find time anymore, which feels like a struggle. We're just sliding English into moments that already exist. That feels much more doable. Give us some examples. How would that work for English? Sure. Think about your day. Okay, so After you pour your morning coffee, something you probably do anyway, maybe you then immediately read one short English news article, just 5 minutes. Or after you brush your teeth at night, maybe you spend 2 minutes reviewing 3 vocab words on an app while you're walking to the bus stop. Pop in your earbuds, listen to a short English podcast segment. Cooking dinner. While you're chopping or stirring, say the steps in English, out loud or just in your head. I'm slicing the onion.
I'm boiling the water.
Exactly. These little links make English feel less like a separate task you have to schedule and more like just part of the flow of your day. You're weaving it in.
And the genius of habit stacking, from a brain perspective, is that it uses those neural pathways that are already strong. Your brain already has a solid pathway for make coffee. By adding read English article right after it, you're essentially grafting the new habit onto a well-established root system.
So it's easier for the brain to accept the new thing.
Much easier. It bypasses a lot of that decision-making fatigue we talked about. You don't have to consciously decide to do the English practice. It just becomes the next step in the sequence you already follow. It uses the momentum of the old habit to launch the new one, makes it way more likely to stick long term.
Now let's tackle something that trips people up. Perfectionism. This is a big one. That voice that says, ugh, if I can't study for a solid hour, perfectly focused is not even worth starting. That all or nothing thinking, it's a momentum killer, absolute killer.
It really is, because perfect conditions almost never happen in real life.
Right. Life gets in the way. So the truth is, showing up daily, even imperfectly, matters way more than perfect practice done rarely. Think about it. 3 intense hours once a month. That's 36 hours a year. 10 minutes a day. Even with missed days, that easily adds up to 60 hours or more over the year. But it's not just the hours.
It's the frequency. The daily learner's brain is constantly getting pinged. It's practicing recall, reinforcing connections, keeping things fresh. The person studying once a month, they spend half their time just trying to remember where they left off, fighting against forgetting.
So even 5 minutes is like doing a little workout for your brain, keeping the English muscle active.
Exactly. It keeps that neural circuitry primed and active, prevents that feeling of starting from scratch every time. Even a tiny bit keeps the connection strong.
And here's another shift. Seeing your everyday moments as practice time. Pure gold, hiding in plain sight. Opportunities are everywhere. You just need to train yourself to see them. So what does this mean for you listening? It means your whole day in your classroom. Seriously, waiting in line. Look around. Describe things silently in English. That person is wearing a blue coat. The floor is gray. Cooking. Narrate it. I need to chop the carrots. Now I add the oil.
Switching your phone language or a favorite app to English is another easy one.
Oh, yeah. Or even just talking to yourself. That inner monologue. Have parts of it in English. These ordinary moments become these little micro lessons. You don't need a textbook all the time. The world is your learning lab.
That perspective shift is just so powerful. It takes learning out of this formal, maybe slightly intimidating box and integrates it right into the fabric of your life. It's about optimizing those little pockets of time that usually just disappear.
Like scrolling on your phone.
Exactly. Turning passive moments into active learning moments. And it trains your brain to constantly be on the lookout for English practice opportunities, which is a skill in itself. It's like self-directed immersion. Now, here's a really key insight about getting started, something people often get backwards. We think we need motivation first before we act.
Right. I'll start when I feel motivated.
But usually it works the other way around. Action often comes before motivation. Think about exercise again. You often don't feel like going to the gym. You drag yourself there. But once you start moving, once you get into it, you start feeling better, more energized. The motivation grows from the action.
Oh, okay. I see that.
It's the same with English. Just start the small action, read the paragraph, say the sentences. That tiny bit of progress you feel, that little win, that fuels your motivation. And more motivation leads to more action. It becomes this upward spiral. Action, your progress, you motivation, more action. That cycle. That's how you build that unstoppable momentum we're talking about. It feeds itself.
Wow, okay, that genuinely flips the script. Don't wait to feel it, just do it, and the feeling will follow. That takes so much pressure off. Let me share David's story from the source. It fits perfectly here. David really wanted to be fluent, but he was stuck in this boom and bust cycle.
Hmm.
Intense study for a couple of weeks, then total burnout, stopping for months.
Very common pattern.
Yeah. And every time he started again, he felt like he was back at square one. So frustrating. Finally, he decided, okay, just 5 minutes a day, no matter what, even if it feels pointless. He started super small, reading headlines, short clips, writing one sentence. He said it felt silly at first, like, is this even doing anything? But he stuck with it day after day, built that chain after a month. His vocabulary was noticeably better. After 3 months, he was writing short journal entries. And after a year, that initial 5 minutes had naturally grown, just through momentum, into a solid 30-minute daily habit. It wasn't forced anymore. And now, he speaks confidently at work, leads meetings in English, something he thought was impossible before. His success wasn't one big heroic push. It was the quiet power of just showing up, 5 minutes at a time.
David's journey is such a clear demonstration of how that minimal, consistent input can snowball. It transforms into this really robust, self-sustaining habit over time. His success wasn't an overnight miracle. It was built from those tiny, compounding wins. Each one made the next one feel a little easier, a little more possible. It really shows that starting small isn't just about making it easy to begin. It's often the most effective way to build something that truly lasts. It's the sustainable path.
All right, let's talk confidence.
Ah,
Because you need it, right? Especially when you're learning something as visible as speaking a new language. Think back to learning to ride a bike. Remember that. Probably felt terrifying at first. Shaky, wobbly, convinced you were going down any second.
oh yeah, scraped knees were part of the deal.
Totally. Maybe you fell, but you got back on. And each time you tried, each little wobble you survived, you got a tiny bit steadier. You started trusting yourself more. And eventually you were just riding, not even thinking about falling anymore, just enjoying it. Learning English is so much like that. Speaking can feel awkward, embarrassing at first. You hesitate, you search for words, you make mistakes that feel huge.
Mm-hmm. That self-consciousness is powerful.
It is. You doubt yourself. Will I ever sound good? But here's the thing. Confidence isn't something you're just born with. It's something you build actively
Yeah.
through consistency.
And what's really key there is the experiential part. Confidence isn't just thinking positive thoughts, though that helps. It's forged in the doing. It comes from successfully navigating challenges again and again, even tiny ones.
Like staying on the bike for 5 more seconds than last time.
Exactly. It's a skill like any other. It gets stronger with practice. Each time you try to speak, understand something new, push past that discomfort, you're laying down another brick in that wall of self-belief. You're proving to yourself through action, okay, I can do this.
Right. It doesn't just appear magically one day. It grows bit by bit. Every time you practice, every time you show up, every time you try,
Mm-hmm.
you prove to yourself, yeah, okay, I did that. And using English daily, even just thinking in English or listening, it trains your brain. It makes the language feel less foreign, less scary.
Familiarity breeds comfort.
Exactly. Our brains fear the unknown. When English becomes more known, more familiar through daily exposure, the fear starts to fade. It's like swimming. Jump in once a year. Scary every time. Jump in every day. The water feels like home. Daily English makes it normal. And when it feels normal, the fear just doesn't have the same power.
And here's a crucial reframe about something that holds so many learners back. Mistakes. We need to stop seeing them as failures. Mistakes are not your enemy. They are your greatest teacher. Seriously.
That's a big shift for a lot of people. The fear of making mistakes is huge.
It is, but think about a toddler learning to walk. Do they quit after falling? Of course not. Falling is part of learning to walk. It's essential feedback. You can't learn without it.
Right. They just get back up and try again, maybe
Yeah.
wobble differently next time.
Exactly. When you make an English mistake, you're not failing. You're learning actively. It shows you're trying, pushing your limits, and every correction, every time you notice something wasn't quite right, moves you closer to fluency. Real confidence comes not from avoiding mistakes, but from embracing them, seeing them as data points for improvement.
So that means changing that inner voice, right? Instead of, oh no, I might mess up, I better stay quiet. Shifting it to something like, okay, I made a mistake, cool. What can I learn from it? This actually makes me better.
Precisely. It's moving from a fear mindset to a growth mindset regarding errors.
That feels much more empowering. Less pressure to be perfect right away. And one tool for actively building this confident mindset, something mentioned in the source, is using daily affirmations. Positive sentences you repeat to yourself. Might sound a bit cheesy to some.
People can be skeptical.
Yeah, but consistently doing it can actually change your thinking over time. It's like mental training. Some examples could be, I am improving my English step by step. Simple. Or, mistakes help me grow. I welcome them. Every day my English gets stronger. I can express myself in English. Saying these regularly, especially when doubt creeps in, can really start to shift your internal state.
There's a real neurological basis for this. It taps into neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to change and rewire itself. Think of your thought patterns as paths in a field. The more you walk down a negative path, I'm bad at English, the deeper it gets.
Easier to fall into that rut again.
Exactly. But when you consistently repeat a positive affirmation, you're deliberately choosing to walk a new path. You're reinforcing a different belief. I am capable of learning. Over time, that new path becomes stronger, more automatic.
So you're literally reshaping your brain's wiring related to English and your ability.
In a very real sense, yes.
Hmm.
Consistent positive self-talk helps overwrite fear-based patterns with confidence-based ones. It makes accessing English feel less threatening internally.
Okay, I like visualizing this as the confidence snowball effect. Picture a tiny snowball at the top of a hill. Small, maybe seems insignificant, but it starts rolling. And as it rolls, it picks up more snow. It's bigger, stronger,
That's
faster.
momentum.
Exactly. Confidence works just like that. Daily practice gives you these little wins, these tiny boosts of confidence. That little bit of confidence gives you the courage to try something slightly harder next time. Speak a bit more, listen to something more complex. Each success adds more snow to your confidence ball. And it just keeps growing, becoming this powerful, unstoppable force. You start tackling things you never thought you could. Alina's story from the source is a perfect example of this snowball in action. She dreamed of working overseas, but her English speaking, really weak, and her confidence was just rock bottom. She said her hands would shake, voice tremble just thinking about speaking. She avoided it completely, felt too embarrassed.
A very common place to be, unfortunately.
Yeah, but she made this decision. 5 minutes of speaking every day, no matter what, even if it felt awful. She started by talking to herself in the mirror, describing her day, her dreams in English. Said it felt super awkward at first.
Takes courage just to do that.
It really does. But she kept going. After a month, words came easier, less panic. After 3 months, she bravely joined an online English chat group. First meeting. Terrifying. But she did it. Second was easier. Third, she was actually enjoying it. Fast forward a year, Elena gave a major presentation in English at her new job abroad. Strong voice, clear message, totally confident. People were amazed, asking how she got so good. And she knew it wasn't magic. It was those 5 minutes day after day building that snowball of confidence and skill.
Elena's story is just a fantastic illustration of that direct link between consistent action and building self-efficacy, building that belief in your own ability. She didn't wait to feel confident before she started speaking. That's the key takeaway.
Right, the action came first.
Yes.
Yeah.
She actively built her confidence piece by piece by facing her fear in small, manageable doses. That allowed her to gradually expand her comfort zone, proving to herself through undeniable experience, hey, I can actually do this. Her internal story changed because her actions changed it.
Have you ever noticed how one small change can sometimes set off this chain reaction, like ripples spreading out across a pond? You drop one tiny pebble in, and suddenly the whole surface is moving wider and wider.
That's a great visual.
Well, learning English, especially through these small daily habits, it works just like that.
Yeah.
I think you're just learning a few words, practicing pronunciation,
Mm.
just doing English stuff. But those small actions create ripples that spread out and can genuinely transform your whole life, way beyond just the language itself. It's a bigger game than it looks.
And this is where we really get to the so what factor. Why does this matter beyond just passing a test or ordering coffee? It's so important to see that language proficiency built this way isn't an end in itself, it's a catalyst. It triggers this cascade of positive changes across your career, your education, your social life, even your personal growth.
So it unlocks other things.
Exactly. It enables a much broader expansion. It's a strategic investment in a bigger future.
Yeah, English isn't just a subject, it's a key. A master key, almost, in today's world. It unlocks doors. Doors to better jobs, maybe international ones, doors to higher education, universities, specialized knowledge, doors to friendships with people all over the planet, to different cultures, different ways of thinking.
Access to information, too. So much is primarily in English online.
Huge amounts.
Yeah.
Books, movies, research. It just opens up the world. And every small English habit you stick with, it's like polishing that key, making it stronger, sharper. Then one day, you find yourself standing in front of a big door, a job interview, a travel opportunity, whatever it is. And because you've been polishing it, your key fits. It turns. The door opens. Without that consistent effort, maybe it stays locked. But you'll be ready.
That really highlights the value beyond just communication, doesn't it? It's a tool for social mobility, for breaking down barriers. It's a bridge for cultural exchange, fostering real understanding. And it's fuel for intellectual growth, just giving you access to so many more ideas and perspectives. So that daily investment in small habits, it really is an investment in a future with many more open doors. And there's another benefit, one that's maybe less obvious but incredibly powerful. Practicing English daily builds discipline.
Oh, interesting. How so?
Well, every time you keep that small promise to yourself, I'll do my 5 minutes now, even when you don't feel like it, you're strengthening your commitment muscle.
Ah, the follow-through.
Exactly. You're practicing self-control, perseverance, and that discipline. It doesn't just stay in the English box, it spills over. You might find yourself being more focused at work, sticking to your fitness goals better, being more resilient when other things get tough. Learning English becomes this kind of training ground for essential life skills. Patience, consistency, dealing with frustration.
Okay, hang on. Let's unpack that. That's huge. So it's not just about learning verbs and nouns. It's actually about the person you become while doing it. It's training you for success in other areas too.
Absolutely. I genuinely believe that. These are transferable skills. The microdiscipline needed for daily practice builds macrodiscipline for life. You're learning how to learn, how to persist, how to delay gratification.
Wow. Okay, that adds a whole other layer of motivation. It's not just English, it's personal development.
It really is. You're building a more capable, resilient version of yourself along the way.
Let's make this ripple effect really concrete. Imagine this chain reaction. You start with just 10 minutes of listening each morning. Okay, simple habit. After a while, your listening improves. You understand more in conversations.
Makes sense.
Because you understand more. You feel more confident to actually speak. Less fear of getting lost. Speaking more leads you to maybe join an online group, practice with others. In that group, you connect with someone who tells you about a great job opening, a job you wouldn't have known about otherwise.
Right, expanding your network.
You apply. Nail the interview because your English and confidence are way up. And you get the job. Your whole life, career, income, maybe even location just changed. All started from that 10 minutes of listening. That's the ripple.
That hypothetical change shows perfectly how interconnected things are. One small, consistent action can set off this branching series of positive consequences across your whole life. Our choices aren't isolated, they echo, they create possibilities.
And these aren't just made-up scenarios. The source has real stories, like Ahmed from Egypt. Dreamed of working internationally, but his English was holding him back. Big time. He started reading one English news article every night. Just one. 6 months later, he could discuss current events pretty fluently. A year later, he aced a job interview full of confidence. Now works globally.
Amazing, just from one article a day.
Yeah. Or Anna from Poland, a stay-at-home mom with hardly any study time. She started using English with her kids' songs, naming things, simple stories. Her English improved, and her kids started becoming bilingual. That ripple affected her whole family's future.
These stories aren't miracles, are they? They're the natural outcome of applying this principle. Small steps, done consistently. And they show how adaptable it is. Different people, different lives, different goals. The core idea works. It's about starting where you are with what you have.
So why do these big life changes often come from small habits? Why not the giant leaps? It's tempting to want that big breakthrough, that one event that changes everything.
Yeah.
But real lasting change, it's usually built slowly, like building a wall brick by brick.
Each brick seems small on its own.
Right, almost insignificant. But you lay one today, one tomorrow, consistently. And eventually you don't have a pile of bricks. You have a strong, solid wall, something that protects you, supports you. Your English is like that wall. Each word, each practice, each small habit is a brick. One day, you'll look back and see this incredible structure you've built, this castle of skills that empowers you. So let's circle back to where we started this deep dive. Remember that tiny seed? Invisible at first, maybe seems slow to start. But with that consistent water and sunlight, those daily actions, it grew into something strong, alive, unstoppable. That seed, that potential for growth, that's your English journey, waiting for your consistent care.
We've really explored today how success in English, and honestly, success in many areas of life, isn't about those huge, intimidating leaps. It's built on small, consistent steps, taken day after day. It's the quiet power of showing up.
And we saw that small steps work because they're doable. They lower the bar for getting started, bypass overwhelm. You don't need perfect conditions. You just need to take the next small step.
And that daily practice builds momentum. It turns effort into flow, making it feel easier, more automatic, even enjoyable over time. It becomes self-fueling.
We learn how consistency creates real confidence. Showing up daily replaces fear with familiarity, mistakes become lessons, and courage grows with every small success. You prove your capability to yourself.
And finally, we saw the ripple effect, how small English habits spread outwards, opening doors to new opportunities, building discipline and character, and transforming your life in ways you might not even expect. And the synthesis of all this, it reveals a really empowering truth. You already have what it takes to start right now. You don't need to wait for the perfect moment or feeling. The power is in starting small, starting today.
So here is our challenge to you, our call to action. Choose one small daily English habit, something genuinely manageable, and start today. Maybe it's reading one page, writing one sentence, listening for 5 minutes, speaking to yourself in the mirror for 2 minutes. It honestly doesn't matter how small it feels right now. What matters is doing it today, and then tomorrow, and the day after. Start building that chain.
And imagine this. Imagine yourself 1 year from today. Picture looking back down the path you've walked, seeing all those small steps you took day after day, and realizing with this incredible sense of accomplishment just how far you've actually come. Imagine the confidence in your voice, the new opportunities you've seized, the connections you've made, the richer life you've built, all because you decided 1 year ago to start with one small daily habit. That future you, it's not just a dream, it's waiting for you to build it, and it starts right now. Because small steps create momentum. Momentum builds confidence. Confidence opens doors. And those doors lead you to big success. Remember, small steps every day create the biggest success of your life.